Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're tackling something that's, well, it's a big one. We're diving into the American dream.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we're going deeper than just a simple definition, right? We want to explore how it's evolved. Is it even attainable for most people these days?
Right.
And what does it mean for you listening right now in the 21st century? Because let's be real, things have changed a bit since, the good old days.
Yeah, for sure.
And to help us out, we're taking a look at this episode of the Fluent English Vibes podcast. They do a pretty awesome job of breaking it all down.
Yeah, they do.
They start off with a pretty straightforward definition. The American dream is this idea that anyone, no matter who you are or where you come from, can achieve success through hard work and determination.
And it's interesting you say that because that's a pretty universal concept, isn't it? I
Mhm.
mean, the desire for a better life, opportunities to grow, improve, that resonates with people all over the world.
That's so true. It's not just an American thing, is it?
No, not at all.
But it's definitely become tied to this image of America, right?
Sure.
So going back to the podcast, they talk about how this whole idea really gained traction in the 1930s.
Oh, yeah.
Right, smack dab in the middle of the Great Depression.
Really, when people needed it most.
Exactly. So picture this. Millions struggling, the future looks bleak. And then you've got this writer, James Truslow Adams, and he drops this term, the American dream, right?
Mhm.
He paints this vision of a nation where everyone, no matter their background, could strive for a life that's, and I'm quoting here, better, richer, and fuller.
Wow. I mean, can you imagine how that must have felt during such a tough time?
Yeah.
Like a beacon of hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I bet it gave people something to hold on to. And then the podcast goes on to describe what a lot of people consider the classic American dream,
Right.
owning a home, having a stable job, raising a family, living comfortably. But it makes you wonder, does that still resonate today? I mean, has that picture maybe gotten a little, I don't know, outdated?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Back in the 50s and 60s, that classic vision, it was pretty attainable for a lot of people. Affordable housing,
Yep.
Tons of jobs, and you didn't always need a fancy college degree. It was a different world, economically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Things have definitely shifted since then.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wages haven't kept up with the cost of living.
No.
College is, well, it's crazy expensive.
Absolutely.
And for a lot of people, that traditional picture, it feels more like a fantasy than a dream.
Yeah, more like a fairy tale almost. And the podcast, they don't shy away from the obstacles people face today either, like the crazy cost of living and student loan debt that's just crippling for so many.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard to feel optimistic about owning a home or having financial stability when you're drowning in debt or barely scraping by. It makes you wonder, is this version of the American dream even possible for most people anymore?
Yeah.
Or has it become, I don't know, a privilege for a select few?
That's a tough one.
It is.
It's a really tough question.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something we need to dig into deeper. But here's the thing. Even though that classic picture might be facing some serious hurdles, the American dream itself, I don't think it's vanished. It's kind of like it's evolving,
Oh, interesting.
The podcast highlights some alternative routes to a fulfilling life that really seem to click with people today. Things like starting your own business.
Entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the whole flexible work thing, working remotely, and even the desire for travel, for new experiences.
Yeah.
It's not a one-size-fits-all definition anymore.
So you're saying it's becoming more about like individual fulfillment than a set checklist of achievements.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people are rewriting the script, defining success on their own terms. But here's the thing. Even though the specifics are changing, that core belief in upward mobility, that idea that hard work can lead to a better life,
Right.
that seems to be the
It's
constant.
the foundation.
Yeah.
It reminds me of this quote from the podcast by Tommy Hilfiger, the fashion icon. He said, "The road to success is not easy to navigate, but with hard work, drive, and passion, it's possible to achieve the American dream."
That's good. That's a good one.
It's a good reminder that even though the path might be tough, the possibility is still there.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating is how deeply ingrained the language of the American dream is in our culture. Think about it. Phrases like land of opportunity,
Oh, yeah.
chasing the dream, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. It's like
Yeah.
they all paint this vivid picture of this concept, this idea, and its staying power, even though the specifics of what that dream actually means might be changing. you know.
You hear those phrases everywhere. It really highlights how deeply this idea is woven into our collective, I don't know, our consciousness. But I'm curious, for you, what stands out about how they portray the American dream in this episode? Does it resonate with you? Does
Oh,
it feel accurate?
well, you know,
As you were talking about those phrases, it hit me that there's this tension between the traditional view of the American dream and how it's evolving today.
oh yeah,
Yeah, on one hand, you've got that classic image. White picket fence, the stable job, the whole nuclear family thing. But on the other hand, there's this growing sense that success, while it can look like a lot of things, right?
right.
Starting your own business, a better work-life balance, even just the freedom to travel and experience the world, it feels like what people value, what they prioritize, it's shifting.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, it makes you wonder, is this shift a natural evolution of the American dream? Or is it a reaction to, well, the changing economic realities?
Hmm.
You know, the ones that make that traditional path harder to reach? Like, is it a choice or is it circumstance?
That is the question, isn't it? Are
Yeah.
people choosing these alternative paths because they genuinely want something different? Or are they being forced to adapt because that old dream, it's out of reach?
Right.
I mean, can it really be the land of opportunity if those opportunities are, well, becoming more limited or just straight up inaccessible?
Yeah, it's a really complex issue, and there are no easy answers.
Yeah.
But I think acknowledging this tension, that's important. You know,
Hmm.
we need to be upfront about those systemic barriers that exist. The fact that not everyone has the same opportunities.
Yeah.
And that traditional path to the American dream, it's getting tougher for a lot of people. Maybe it's time to even question if that old definition of success, the house, the car, the perfect family, is even what people really want anymore.
It's like we're at a crossroads, and the podcast actually, they encourage listeners to do some soul searching, you know?
Oh, that's good.
They ask, what does success mean to you? It's like they're challenging us to define the American dream on our own terms,
Yeah.
based on our own values, our own aspirations.
I love that.
Oh.
Because in a way, isn't that the essence of the American dream?
Yeah.
That it can inspire us to think bigger, to set goals, to strive for something better, even if that something better looks different for each of us.
It's not a cookie cutter thing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not about achieving a specific set of material goals, but rather about that belief in upward mobility, that sense of agency and hope.
It's believing you have the power to create a better life for yourself and your family, regardless of where you start or what challenges you face along the way.
Yeah. And that's something that can resonate with anyone, anywhere, not just in America.
It's a human thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And it transcends any particular time period or economic reality. It's about that human desire to grow, to learn, to achieve, and to create a better future.
You know, it makes me wonder how the American dream is perceived globally, you know?
Mm.
Is it seen as this uniquely American thing, or does it resonate with people in other countries too? Do they look at America and see a land of opportunity, or are they more skeptical these days?
Well, that's a question that deserves its own deep dive for sure.
Yes.
But I would say that the desire for a better life, the longing for opportunity, the chance to shape your own destiny, those are universal human aspirations.
Absolutely.
It's just that the American dream, it's become this powerful symbol, this almost mythical ideal that captures those aspirations in a very specific way.
And even though the specifics of that ideal might be shifting, that underlying belief in upward mobility, that spark of hope that things can get better,
Right.
that transcends borders and cultures.
Absolutely. And maybe that's why the American dream continues to fascinate us, to inspire us, and to spark debate and discussion, even as it evolves and adapts to the changing times, you know? It's a concept that forces us to grapple with some really fundamental questions. What we value, what we strive for, what it truly means to live a good life.
You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking about those iconic images, you know, of immigrants arriving at Ellis Island back in the early 20th century.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Faces full of hope, yearning for a better future. Do you think those aspirations are still alive today?
Mm.
Or has the reality of modern America kind of tarnished that image?
That's a powerful image you bring up. And honestly, it's a question that's not easily answered. But I think it's safe to say that the American dream, it still holds a certain allure, both in the U.S. and globally.
Yeah.
It represents possibility, a reminder that maybe, just maybe, you can create a better life for yourself. If you're willing to work hard, take risks. But
It's not like a guaranteed ticket to success, though,
No.
right? Like, it's not as simple as just, I don't know, showing up and expecting things to just fall into place.
Definitely not. You've got challenges,
Yeah.
systemic barriers,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah. A lot of hustle.
Exactly.
Hmm?
And maybe that's the part we forget sometimes when we're talking about the American dream. It's not about, entitlement. It's about striving. It's about believing, truly believing that you can shape your own destiny, even if the odds are totally stacked against you.
It's that resilience, that
Yeah.
grit, that refusal to give up on a better future.
Yeah, that entrepreneurial spirit, that willingness to take risks, carve your own path,
Yeah.
even if it means stepping outside that, traditional definition of success.
Makes me think about all those stories, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of people coming to America with nothing but a suitcase and a dream.
Right.
And through hard work and sheer determination, they build these incredible lives for themselves and their families.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
It's a powerful reminder that the American dream, while not always easy to reach, it's still a source of inspiration, of hope for so many.
It really is. And, it speaks to that human spirit, that drive to overcome, to create something from nothing.
Yeah.
And it shows the power of this concept, this dream, even when those traditional markers of success, they feel more and more out of reach.
It's more about the journey than the destination almost.
You're right. Maybe that's where the real power of the American dream lies. It's not about checking off some predefined list of goals. It's about that unwavering belief in the possibility of something better, that upward mobility, that it's within reach, and that you have the power to shape your own future.
It's about the mindset, that sense of possibility, that optimism that fuels everything.
Exactly. It pushes people to strive for more. It's that belief in the power of the individual to make a difference, not just for themselves, but for their communities, for the world.
Beautifully said. It's like that spark of hope, right?
Yes.
That ignites action, fuels innovation, keeps us reaching for something better, even when things seem uncertain.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the ever-evolving American dream,
Right.
we leave you with this. What does success look like for you? What are you chasing? What are you building? What brings you a sense of fulfillment?
That's the question. And remember, at its core, the American dream is about that unwavering belief in a better future. It's a power of hard work, determination, and that hope that things can and will get better. So
Yeah.
keep dreaming, keep striving, and never lose sight of that potential within each of us.
Perfectly put. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We hope it's given you something to think about, maybe inspired you to define your own American dream. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep chasing those dreams.